day, everybody, and welcome back again to another YouTube tutorial on the art project. Today is going to be so special. You know why I said it's so special? Because according to the title of this video, we actually implemented the TikTok swipe. You're going to love the interface I'm about to show you right now. Just brace yourself up, and 1, 2, 3, boom. Look at that. Yes, you're surprised. I know that. Yeah, it's genius. Yeah, it's god level. Yeah, I know that. Okay. There are many things in here. There are many things to explain, but not really everything that I'm going to really explain, because based on the design, I'm going to explain some few parts of the design. Remember, I'm building a course. My focus on this video is not to teach you the design mechanism, is to teach you how to build your application, how to build a nice application, and the concept you have to follow. But the design, intimately, the design specifics, I'm not going to be teaching you that. But anyway, we'll still talk about the whole button, how I did them, how I placed them, arranged them to look so cool. We're going to talk about that. All right, let me just show you something. Yeah, can you see that? Swiping. This is a recycle view. Yeah, it's just like TikTok, right? This is crazy. I know that. So much crazy. Now, notice something. If I swipe up, this thing goes down. This thing here, this text here. If I swipe down, it goes up. So I can really expand this. So as you can see, it's so awesome. Yeah. So let's see how it looks like if we actually put this thing on a mobile device. Let me open up my pictures. Oh, okay, no need for that. I already have those things here. Yeah, so if you put this on a mobile device, this is how it is going to look like. Exactly. So as you can see how awesome and cool it is. Yeah, I think this is just the same thing with the former ones. So with this out of the way, let's get right back into the code. Now, first thing first, I'm going to show you the ArtScreen. So remember, we worked on the home screen in the last video. We worked on the home tablet screen. Today we are going to be working on the ArtScreen. So yeah, this guy here. Now, if I expand this, I only worked on the mobile section. Yeah, the mobile section is what I'm going to be talking about today. So now, this is the file we are on right now. Now, inside this ArtScreen, we have only recycle view widget inside of it. There's no other thing that we have. Every other thing we are seeing on the interface, let me pull it up again. Every other thing we are seeing on the interface, both the button, the following, everything except for this button down here, this button notification button, everything is inside the fit frame. Yeah, so we are going to still go here to check it out. Now, notice something in the recycle view. There's something new here. I specified the effect CLS, hard stop damp scroll effect. So this actually makes the swiping, like if I try to swipe, it doesn't move so fast. It's kind of like it's hard to push up and down. So that's the functionality of the hard stop damp scroll effect. Swipe direction is vertical. If we are scrolling on the horizontal level, we are going to set this to horizontal, but I'm not interested in the horizontal, and TikTok is not interested in horizontal. I think it is interested in vertical. So now I'm going to show you an image where I copied the design from, exactly what you're seeing here. Yeah, so you can see for yourself and see if you can actually detect any difference. Let me look at this. Yeah, so everything is in line except for the icon style. This is a bit rounded, but this is a perfect square, I think so. So I think everything is in place. So except for this music, forget about the music. We're not dealing with music stuff here. All right. So this is the design I copied from, in case you were thinking or imagining whatever language you speak there. Then okay, bar width, you already know bar width, no bar width at all. Then do swipe, you have to set this do swipe to true. Once set it to true, it is going to be scrolling automatically. Let me just do that, and so as you can see, yeah, it is doing automatic scrolling, it is not actually swiping. So you have to set this to true. Now let us go into this fit frame to see what is actually going on there. You already know this recycle box layout is still the same thing with the previous ones you've seen. So let's leave that and focus on frame. Where is my baby frame? Okay, let me move this main.py here so that we have full access to it. But let's look at the Python file first before we move on to the Kivy file. So we have fit_frame, the class fit_frame, and then it has attributes of frame which contains the image you are seeing. This image here is the frame itself. The title is the name of the username or whoever the user is, Alicia Keys for now. Then the tiny image is the user's image, this image here. Now the next thing is we have a tiny image line color. The line color of the tiny image, this image here, this black line you are seeing around the tiny image. Then the content text, the actual content. What's the difference between tiny? Okay, text. Okay, yeah, this content text. Sorry, I was confusing it with text content. Why? This content text is the actual text here. It has been a horrible day dancing and blah 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 blah. So that's it. Now we have solve the text content y is equals to 68 dp, right, on the init. So we say while creating this fit frame object, we didn't pass a tiny image line color. This tiny image should be the primary color of the whole app. So the primary color of our app is a black color. So if win.state equals push self.text content y. So here we are kind of like listening. Yeah. So the actual position, the y stands for the vertical position. Where is it on the plane? So it is at least at the 10 dp of the plane. So it is a little bit above. Let me show you what I mean. Yeah. So between here and here is 10 dp. So it's on the 10 dp. Yeah. Now, if win.state is equals to push, so we're actually checking if the current button, this navigation button, if its state is push, that is if it is appearing on the screen, we should just move the text content. Yeah, we should do this. Move the text content up, yeah, to 68 dp. Now I created a listener on this bottom navigation button. This listener, if you want to detect when the bottom navigation button is pushed or popped, you use this register listener to register a function which you want to activate when a pop or a push is done. So here, when it is popped, we kind of like reduce the text content to the text position to dp of 10. So just as you are seeing here, if we just scroll, okay, if we scroll up, this text here is going to come down. If you scroll down, the text there is going to move up. So the same thing applies to push. Push is for moving up, and pop is for moving down. So I used animation to animate the movement. Now we have a shorten text method here. This shorten text, what it does is to shorten this text here. Now I did a whole lot of magic inside of this shorten text. Giving shorten value or variable. Is it value or variable? I can't remember. The shorten in the label of the Kivy widget, the Kivy label, it only shortens your text into one line. Now with this, you can be able to shorten your text to an amount of lines you want. So I want it to be on a 2 line. The text itself is more than 2 lines. So I want it to shorten it to 2 line and then add C more to it. So that is what we're seeing. We're seeing this dot 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 plus C more. I'm not going to explain about this shortened text. The code is inside of the lib folder. Yeah, I'm not going to explain anything about it. If you want to know more about it, you have to check it out yourself. I'm still going to design. Now I'm still going to create a course called Design Mechanisms. Just wait for it. That is what I'm going to tell you. Just wait for it. It's going to be huge. As far as I'm concerned, I've built a whole lot of ideas that can help you in your journey as a Kivy developer. So we assign the text itself, which is the content text, in this shortened text. Then we kind of like self the IDs. Okay, this is the width of the label we are trying to assign the text to. So I think this text is the thing that actually displays the text inside of this content label. We'll still see how it looks like though, but let's just put our focus more on explain this shortened text. So you get the width of the label, you get the text you want to insert into the label you get the width, then you say how many lines you want to shorten, then what font size do you is your font, what is the font size of your label. You have to specify the actual font size of your label. If you don't specify that, it's going to just use the default font of Kivy. Maybe use 20 SP in your font size, and then you didn't apply any font size here. It's just going to use 15 SP, the default font size. But well, that's your choice if you choose that. But make sure you specify the font size using the label's font size. So if there's no self-content Excel, it should just disappear. We don't need it. You just return. Then let's move into this frame code. The code is quite huge. So let me remove this. I think I'm done with this. Now fit image, the main image you're seeing. Yeah, this image here, right? So we assign it to frame. We assign frame to the source of the fit image to display. Then here we have, first thing we created was MD box layout. This MD box layout is positioned at the top, and now here it is a gradient. Yeah, a gradient. I will explain before we get to that. So it's at the top. We set the height to be 200 dp. Then canvas. Make sure you set this color. There's a mistake. I think Kivy upgraded their module, so you have to always set the color. Initially, when I released the gradient Kivy gradient module or Kivy gradient package, it's on PyPy. Some of you are using it. I've did a tutorial once with it on YouTube. You can check my previous videos. You will see that. So this actually applies a gradient to your widget. So you have to apply a color here, right? Make it white. The color should be white. It doesn't matter. Let's make it white so that these gradients will be able to work. If you still want transparency, just make sure this is white. Then put your transparency in this gradient. Let's explain. Look at this. My focus is now on this guy here. We're making the gradient to be vertical. This is the gradient at the very top. Let's see if you can see it. Let me use the white. Yeah. If you look at the top here, just as you are seeing on this image here, looking at the top, it looks a little bit darker, like it's cloudy, something like that. It's like shadows moving around, but it's not shadow. It's the gradient from gray color to complete transparency. From gray color to complete transparency, the height is I think 200 dp. It's somewhere here. It's ended somewhere here. Yeah. So it's kind of like, hey, give me a complete transparency to a light or a transparent gray color. Make sure that this transparency, the first one, remember this is vertical. Let me show you how it moves. From here, it moves from here down to up. That is the way this gradient works. It moves from down to up. So be careful and mindful of the way you place your colors in the argument. So this is the one that represents the down. Make sure that it is, if you want complete transparency and you want, let's say, from transparency to yellow, make sure that the main colors, the RGBs, are actually yellow. Then you can now set the transparency to 0. Start with the transparency of the gradient, transparency of the color you want to gradient to. So if you are graduating from transparency to gray, make sure that the colors of the first argument are all gray except for the transparency. So 0.2, 0.2, 0.2, R is going to be 0.2. That is red, green, blue, RGB. Make sure they are all gray. Then the alpha channel, set it to 0 if you're moving from transparency to whatever color. Now this is the actual color we want. So we have 0.2, 0.2, 0.2. The overall RGB are all gray. Then we now set the transparency to 0.5. Yeah, I want you to understand that, to 0.5. So I don't want it to be too dark. If I set it to 1, that top panel is going to be from transparency to complete. I think this should be complete gray, and we won't be seeing what is behind the background. Let's see. So as you can see, it covered everything on the background. The background is entirely covered. So we don't want that. Excuse me. We want to be seeing some of the contents behind the background. That's why we are setting this transparency. We'll still get to know more about colors in the design mechanism. Okay, let me run this thing back again, and yeah, so we have our stuff the way we wanted it to be. So that is for the top gradient. Yeah, remember the position is on the top. You can also use anchor if you wanted to, but I'm not using anchor. I need something I can actually control. Now if I want to add something inside of it, I would. Well, anyway, let's continue. So this second one is the gradient below. Notice how I added them directly under the fit frame. The fit frame is a relative layout, so which means we can position our widget anywhere we want. Yeah, there's no order of position. The order of position now depends on you. So I'm using a fit frame, I'm using a relative layout, so I can be able to position anything I want anywhere. So these two things are actually, they are behind other widgets. Other widgets are on top of them. So if a widget appears first, like this is on top of the fit image. If I should put this behind, if I should put it somewhere here, this fit image is going to be covering it. We don't want that. We want the gradient to be on top of the image. So you put the gradient after you have created the image. So this is the second gradient, which is the below. So we are moving from total gray, not totally gray, kind of like partial total gray, because this is 0.9. There's still transparency below it. We're moving from partial total gray to a complete transparency. As you can see here, it's from gray, partial total gray to a transparency. You can still see the image behind it. So yeah, as you can see with this one, you can still see the image behind it. So I'm just trying to do exactly what this image here did. Yeah. So the next thing is the anchor layout. This anchor layout is for these beautiful icons here. So this anchor layout actually covers the whole of this place. Yeah, so you don't have access to this place entirely. It covers the whole of this place, and yeah, we anchored it. We anchored it at center. That is the anchor Y. We made it to be centered, and the anchor X is to the right, which means, hey, place whatever widget we are going to put into you. Whatever widget that is going to appear inside of you, make it appear on the center, then towards the right. Make it to move to the edge, right edge of the screen. That is what we are seeing here. So it's kind of like in the center and then at the extreme right. Then inside of it, we created a box layout, right? The size of the box layout is adaptive size, so we want to make it, we want to make the size of the box layout to be adaptive to the size of the widgets inside of it, to the size, that is the height of 1, 2, 3. So it's going to calculate the height of this and make it the height, and then the width should be the width of the largest widget inside of it. So all of them are equal, and it's just going to calculate, so it's just going to calculate all of them together and apply the width to that box layout. Now we have this orientation. It should be vertical. Yeah, if you want it to be on the horizontal, yeah, you make it horizontal. Then spacings in between each buttons is going to be 20 dp. Then the padding 10 dp to shift away from the wall a little bit. Yeah. Then we have this reaction button. So if you look closely, you notice a number below these buttons here. So like the like button or the heart button, it has 120k likes. That is 120,000 likes. So yeah, for now, you have the heart button here. Is a reaction. Then we have the comment. Comment is also a reaction, but not is where you kind of like say your reaction instead of expressing your reaction. There's a difference between saying in social media. If you're saying you are commenting, if you are expressing, you are kind of like liking, something like that. So we have the second one. Remember this icon, remember what I said in the last video, this icon is specific to only the icon inside of my asset folder. So if you're using the Kivy MD icon, there's nothing like heart F. This is just the heart or heart outline, something like that. Then we have the second reaction, which is almost the same. We have icon BG color, icon size, count. You must specify the count. If you don't specify the count, your widget is going to appear somehow. If there is no count, just set it to 0. If you must use the reaction button, set the count to 0. So this code, the code to reaction button, is on the components folder. We're going to discuss that in the design mechanism course. So icon BG color is we set it to almost the same thing as the gray icons. Yeah, if you look at the background, they are all grays. Okay, we have icon size. We set it to 20 sp. The default icon size is 24 sp, but I needed it to be a little bit smaller to match what is on our image here. I don't know if it's actually matching, but anyway, let's move on with our life. Then the last one is MD icon button. I'm not going to, because sharing, we don't need to put count there. If you want to put count, you use the reaction button. If you don't want to put count, just use the MD icon button straight away. So yeah, you already know how MD icon button works. Now I think this is the second, no, this is the third widget we have already added to the frame. Now the fourth widget we are going to add is the widget at the very top. This guy, this button here, following for you, and the search button, they are all on the same line. So we'll position it at the top. The adaptive height should be true. Then we have the icon buttons. You already know what the icon buttons are, but the interesting part is this. I think you should set this to center y is equals to 0.5. If you don't, it's going to place the widget a little something more below, like it's not going to be on the same plane or on the same position with other widgets. So just make sure the position is at the very center on the vertical axis. So we have this MD box layout. This MD box layout houses another MD box layout. If you check this MD box layout, you see that the color is gray. So which means we are talking about this guy here. This is the actual MD box layout. It moves from here to here. Yeah, it covers the whole of this place. This guy is inside of it. So the first widget inside of this box layout is the text button, which is that following stuff. Yeah, so at first I think this button should say something like follow. Yeah, if you click it, it will now say following. If you click it again, you should go back to follow, something like that. Yeah, then the next one is the MD card. Inside of this MD card, because I think the reason why I use the empty card is because if you look here, you see kind of like a shadow behind this or what I call it, this widget here, this pink widget. So that's why I use a MD card to make the shadow come out a little bit. Yeah. So we set the radius to half of the size to make it kind of like circular. Elevation 1, you should know what that is. Then we put this label inside of the MD card and make sure it is at the center, though the label is already covering everything. And then we set the padding to 20 dp for the x-axis and 10 dp for the y-axis. Yeah. So then finally we create the magnifying glass, that is the search icon button. I think this is almost the last thing. Okay, the last but not the least is the widget below. Let me pull it up so you'll see this guy here, this Alicia keys. So the height is 60 dp, the width is the width of the root minus 60 dp. This 60 dp, this minus 60 dp is we're minusing it from the icons. Let me not so far and go there. Let me pull this up. We're minusing it from this thing here. So this is actually here's 40, right? Around it is 10, which is 20. 40 plus 20 is 60. So I think the spacing between here and here is 60 dp, because the size of this, the width of this is 60 dp. So that's why we're using 60 minus 60 dp. We're minusing it from this guy so that it doesn't kind of like go through over there, just as this thing on the image here. Yeah, as you can see the space between here and here because of this guy. I think this guy is a little bit down. Yeah, I don't know if we should do the same, but I will consider that later, though you have already gotten the picture of what we're trying to do. So next thing is to show us how we created the widget inside of it. Then this first widget here is the anchor layout. The width is 40 dp. Yeah, we want the width to be the same width as this image here. So we have an empty box layout. This empty box layout houses the line around it. If you look at the line, yeah, this line around it, you will notice that it is black. So the empty box layout is responsible for that. The radius is 20 dp. Yeah, remember that the width of this stuff is 40 dp. So 20 dp is half of this width. That's why it is a circle. Then we have a fit image inside of it. This fit image contains the image itself. As you can see, the tiny image. This one is for the tiny image line color, something like that. Then the line width is 2. Then this one here, if you check the placement, you see that this is a horizontal box layout, right? So this is the first image that handles the image, and the first widget that handles the image. This second one handles the text. So if you check, it is vertical. We have MD label. The first, this is for the title, right? I don't know if font size and title are getting in place or something. We have the MD label. The text should be root.title, right? Whatever thing we say the title is, which is the Alicia keys. Font size is 18 sp. Yeah. Shorten from right. Yeah. So this is the shorten that I am talking about. This is the actual Kivy shorten, but this second widget below does not make use of the shorten variable. We created our own shorten, and then we said on width, if the label changes width, you should shorten the text. It checks whether the text is longer than the width of the label. If it is longer, it's going to shorten. If it is no longer, it's going to just display it that way. Then color, we have a 0.7 point. That is to make it a little bit light white, something like that. So With this, I think we have done justice to the Kivy code of the frame. Now, I think it's time for us to move to the mobile screen of the Python class of the mobile ArtScreen. So this is what we did. We looked through the whole images. Yeah, we set the frame, we set the title, where the track is. The image is whatever that is in directory of these assets / images. We have the tiny image, same thing as whatever that is in the asset folder. Then we have the content text. As you can see, this is a very, very long text. This is kind of fun, right? Now, check the size. As you can see, it went ahead to cut it to, I think at so many. Yeah. So, this is the entire code, how it looks like. So, that's the explanation. And I hope this actually blows you guys off. I mean, the widget itself. I'm preparing a very much standard course to explain the design mechanism. I'm actually just showing you off the workflows and how you're going to place your widgets. Yeah. So let me just explain something using this thing here. Let me see if that works. Let me remove this guy. Minimize, close. Come on. I hate Windows. Alright, now we have our full focus on this guy here. For you to be able to design something, the things that should be coming to your mind is the placements of the widget. Remember, this is the widget, this is the design we're trying to copy. First of all, you study the case. How was this thing placed? We'll start from bottom to top, right? Which means we'll design this thing first before any other thing. But if you look at it, you'll notice that there are shadows behind, which means this is no box layout. This is not an arranged layout. It's kind of like a float or relative layout, which you can place anything any way you like. Now, the point I'm trying to make here is this. You start with the working flow, the design working flow. First of all, you go with the image, because the image is the main focus. You put the image. Every other thing is on top of the image. The image is not on top of every other thing. So which means the image is going to be designed first. It's going to be the first widget that appears on your screen. Your MD screen is a relative, or I think, no, it is a float layout, I guess, or relative layout, any of them. So the image is first. The second thing we're going to work on is the gradients, the shadows behind. The shadows behind, if you look at it, you will notice that the shadows are not on top of the widget. These widgets are on top of the shadows. The same thing applies to this one below. The widgets are on top of the shadows. So what you do is to design both shadows, the up and down shadows first. Now, the other scenario is these guys, these widgets at the top and these widgets below and these widgets here. It doesn't matter which one you design first. Whichever one you want to design first, go ahead. Just make sure that they are all adaptive sizes. Yeah. If they are not adaptive sizes, which means that this widget, the layout that houses this widget at the top covers the whole screen, and it is the last widget that you created. It means you can't be able to click anything here. You can't be able to click anything here because this guy is already covering every other thing. So this is an adaptive size or an adaptive height. So make sure you pull it to the top. So if you look at it, it's at a position at the top, right? So you top it to 1. This one is already below. There's no need to position it. Let it be where it is. This one is somewhere in the middle, though it's not in the middle, but let's assume it is in the middle. Use an anchor layout. Is on the right. So it appears that you're going to use an anchor layout here and then push it to the center, moving it towards the right. And that makes it work. You understand? So now the last thing here is this bottom navigation button. Notice it is on top of the what is it called again? Notice it is on top of the screen. The screen is not on top of it, which means you have to add this thing to the window. Window itself is a bigger widget. You have to add this widget to the window and make sure that the ND screen manager has already been created before adding this bottom navigation button to the window. If it is not created first, this guy is going to be covering it, because ND screen manager is under our screen manager, whichever one you're using, screen manager or ND screen manager, whichever one you're using. If you created screen manager first, then you can be able to create this one second. But if you created this one first and created screen manager later, you will never see this appear on your screen. So I think this is what I want to just talk about anyway. I hope you understand the process. Think about the process, then know how you would arrange your codes. The code will be on GitHub, so for you to be able to study further on the course, though I've already started much preparation for this course. This course is going to be big. It's a promise. It's going to be full big. I've already scripted everything that I'm going to say so that I won't have to forget things. Yeah. So everything I'm going to say has already been scripted. So I want you to think before you act. That is the essence of designing. If you don't think before you act, you're going to make a whole lot of mistakes. I think that if you're making a whole lot of mistakes, you are actually learning, but the learning should be done at the learning stage, not when you are on a production environment. You are trying to ship your code and you are kind of like doing testing and errors. You're going to be behind schedules. Alright guys, I love you all. I'll see you in my next video. I think the next one should be the collection screen. Yeah. Quick notice, we are not going to be designing any payment screen again. Payment API is gone. So this ArtScreen, this art application is where people come and post their art, right? If we like it, we like it. If we don't like it, we don't like it. The reason why I'm not putting the payment API is because, number one, I don't have Android phone. Number two, the payment API I'm going to use is Flutterwave, and Flutterwave is only restricted to Nigerians. And I know that people, not Nigerians only, to Africans. Yeah. And I know most of you watching my videos are not from Nigeria. 90% of people visiting my YouTube are from India and the US, these two countries, India and US. Now, 10% is from Africa in general, which means most people who are viewing my videos are not from my area, which means building any API that is not being used by any other country is no, it's not suitable. It's kind of like useless to you because what are you doing with it? Nothing. So since I don't have an Android phone, I can't be able to integrate Google Pay. What I wanted to use initially is Google Pay. So I couldn't do that because no Android phone at hand currently. Until I get my hands on an Android phone, I will be able to integrate Google Pay, because I have a project which is on GitHub. I don't know if you have seen it, SJ Google Play and SJ Google Billing, so on and so forth. I wanted to integrate them, but I stopped due to lack of Android phones. I think someone has been contacting me to see if he will be testing it for me, but I can't move on that way because I need to know what I'm doing instantly. I need to be getting feedback. If I'm not doing it correctly, I need to be getting feedback. So with that out of the way, thank you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace out.